Alright, good evening and welcome back for those who have joined us for the first race. If you are just joining us for the first time tonight, good evening to you. We are here for the second test race ahead of season number 4 for the PMRL Racing League. We are here at Auto Club Speedway, also known as California Speedway back in the day. It is a 2-mile D-shaped oval, and we are going to do 75 laps, which is 300 left turns in I would say about 30 to 45 minutes time. So second race of the evening. The first race won by Anna Jorfi, who I believe is not racing in the second race, at least for now. Maybe she will join us within now in the next few minutes, but either way she's not here right now. But as I said, the second test race before the season gets underway, which brings me to a good point of the schedule, which we will go over very quickly right now as the drivers arrive for warm-up. Again, a pretty small field for the test race, but as the season goes on and the actual season itself will have a bigger field. But the schedule, as I mentioned, Fuji Speedway on the 13th of July, which is in 3 days. On Wednesday we kick off season number 4. Then we go to Iowa and Imola before we take a 2-week break until Indianapolis. The first Triple Crown race, sorry. Then we go to Mid-Ohio, Michigan, the second Triple Crown round, and then we have another week off until Pocono and Road America. Pocono, the final of 3 Triple Crown rounds on the ovals, with Iowa being the 4th and non-Triple Crown oval. But Road America going to be an interesting race to close out the season with. But yeah, Auto Speedway, 2-mile oval, as I said. Pack racing here is not at all uncommon. We do have a pretty small field size at the moment though, so it will just be a small group of cars battling for position, let's say. It won't be necessarily a pack race because there's not enough cars to really form a proper pack. But currently we have Carlos Espada on the provisional pole, or the top of the timing screens, I should say, really. Once again, please let me know about any issues with the audio levels or the stream quality. I am using 1080p, by the way, for the second race. Just trying it out. Used 720 as a steady or safe option in the first test race, but right now 1080p it is. Let me know if it runs smoothly or not. If it doesn't, we will go forward with 720 for now. But warm-up session, just a few minutes for the drivers to really get to know the race setup before going into the race. So currently the fastest speed, 32.58 by Carlos Espada, who finished 5th in the first test race. It appears that we will have 5 cars taking the green flag in just a moment. Like I just mentioned, the field size for the actual series itself will be much bigger than this. We are... I was going to say a number, but actually I got to check just to make sure I don't give out the wrong information. But for the first race of the season, I think we are going to be around 20 to 25 cars. So that's going to be interesting at Fuji in 3 days' time. Of course, multiple drivers already practicing for that, but warm-up is over. So we are going to go trackside for the green flag. As I mentioned, 75 lap race, 150 miles. So plenty of time to get to the front if you're starting in 5th, like David Olfheim. But let's quickly cover the qualifying results here for this race. We've got Sam Moyle on the pole with 32.502. Then we've got Carlos Espada alongside Sam, 10th behind. Then we've got Angel Pons in the 3rd position on the inside of row 2. Then we got Manuel Gomez Esteban on the outside, who is, let's say, a little bit more experienced on the ovals for Team Matzinger, 2 tenths behind the pole time. Then we got David Olfheim in the 5th position, the final car on the starting grid, 2.6 seconds off the pace. probably just turning a lap to at least be in front of Jessica Saban, who is going to be race controlling today. Alright, pace car rolls off. As we are going to get ready to go for 300 left turns, 75 laps, 150 miles is going to be the race distance. We got 5 cars taking the green. Gotta say, I'm very excited for this season. Should be the most competitive one yet. We got SMS Racing back for the season, as well as Indy Alliance Racing with a number of their cars, and multiple other very competitive IndyCar drivers and also oval drivers who are gonna join us for those races. But pace car gonna roll into turns 3 and 4. It is Sam Moyle and Carlos Espada on the front row, and the field is going to form up, and we will get ready to go for this race, test race number 2 for pre-season. In 3 days time we'll be at Fuji over in Japan for the first race of the season, but now it's time to get the final test of oval driving under our belt. Sam Moyle on the pole, pace car is in, and the green flag is out for race number 2 of the evening. As we already have a car clipping the apron, that is Carlos Espada. Keeping P2 though. Nice save. As Sam Moyle already has a huge lead going into turn 3. 1.4 seconds the difference. As the rest of the field follows behind. Sam Moyle leads lap number 1. It is a battle for P2 though between Pons, Espada and Gomez, with all of him just chilling in the back right now. Oh, car in the wall, that is Ponche who is to the wall, and that is Ulfheim getting collected there. That's 2 cars gone before the end of lap 2, and that's going to be the first caution of season 4 in PMRL, and that is a lot of damage for the number 4 car as Sam Moyle drives down the backstretch waiting for the pace car. Not sure where it is exactly. But let's get a quick look at this. So going through turns 3 and 4 it happens. We go down the backstretch first. And as I do that actually, let's go on board here. With Carlos. Car way up high, and actually it's his teammate that does that, so we'll go back. I apologize. It's easy to get those two team cars mixed up, but through turn 4, car just pushes up, and boom, right into the wall. Then gets hit from the rear by Ovhiel, and I think Ovhiel had nowhere to go, but we'll find out if that's correct or not. It's already happened here. Let's see. Alright, let's go back manually then, because SDK is messing up a little bit. So right here on the corner exit, yeah, you see that purple and blue car is on the inside, so nowhere to really go for Ovhiel, and just a victim of circumstance, let's say. As we pick up the leader again, Sam Moyle finished 3rd at Laguna Seca earlier this evening. We got Ricardo in chat. Hola, sir. Or senor, I should say. I think you speak Spanish. If not, I apologize. I guess Portuguese is a little bit similar. It's not the same, but similar. So under caution here at Addercroft Speedway, which brings us some nice timing here as well to talk about Fopsy iRacing Paints, which is going to be, I guess you could say, the league sponsor. Vilde Wallin, good friend of all of us in PMRL. But Vilde makes these iRacing paints for not just IndyCars, but also plenty of other cars on the iRacing service. You can go to Vopsy, lowercase iRacing on Instagram to contact Vilde. And of course, for a nice little price, she will make you a nice car on iRacing. I do know Vilda's made some cars for Oscar, a friend of mine. Some VOR cars, which is my league. And also the team. And it's safe to say that they look incredible, so check it out. Again, Vopsy, lowercase iRacing on Instagram. As there is a wave around for Ponce, and we might get one for Overhelm as well when he gets back out. Jessica Saban in race control, waving those people by. So yeah, 3 days away from the season opener at Fuji Speedway. It's going to be the first time ever that the IndyCars of PMRL race at the Japanese venue. Of course, hosted the 1976 and 77 Formula 1 races, and also 2007 and 2008, of course, most famous for the 1976 race. Alright, we should be going back to green at the end of this lap. Of course, after Fuji we go to Iowa and Imola, of course, and then we go to Indy, Mid-Ohio, Michigan, Pocono, and Road America. Alright, let's see if we go back to green flag racing. We should be. Alright, pace car gonna come down to the pits. Sam Moyle controls the pace. Not sure what's going on here with this restart, but we are back underway. Field spread out across the entire width of the track, but we are green again from Addercroft Speedway. As Gomez is going to make a move right away on Espada to the inside. Manuel goes. Down the back straight. And it's Espada out in front. We've got Manuel in the draft. Going high here. Looking for that clean air to try and make the move on the exit of turn 4. Gonna try to get a good run. Careful with the outside. Whoa! That was close with Overhelm again. But just like I was saying, Manuel with the momentum on the high side gets by. On board with the 77 right now. For Team Matzinger from Valladolid in Spain. To the inside, trying to break the draft from the car behind and also pick up the draft from Sam Moll ahead as Espada holds off Ponche. That's not Ponche, sorry, that is Overhelm, who is a lap down. But Sam Moll's got a 6/10 of a second gap as Overhelm is going to make a move to the outside of Espada here. Again, this is not for position. Oh, that's Overhelm in the wall again. And that is going to be race done probably. That was a pretty hard lick against that wall in turn 2. As he brings it down to the apron. might be okay to get the damage repaired. He's gonna be down multiple laps though, already down one. So they done for a solid finish at least. As he slows it down for the pits, we go back to the front. Manuel Gomez Esteban picking up that draft from Samuel. The two closest cars together. Not sure what happened to Espada at the restart there. Maybe he hit the wall too. But he's 1.1 behind Gomez. Please let me know again about all the audio levels and that good stuff. In terms of the stream, it looks fine to me right now. Of course, if you experience any buffering, please let me know too, so I can keep an eye on that. For the rest of this broadcast, I can't fix it, but I can for the next race, which is going to be the season opener. But so far so good on the broadcast at least, video-wise. So Samuel pulls away to a 8.5 tenths of a second gap to Manuel Gomez Esteban. And then there's a 1.1 second gap still to Espada behind. That gap is not really shrinking or growing. Then another second back is Ponche in the 2 car in P4. Then we got 2 laps to Ulfhilm in the 5th position. Of course, Saban is race control, so not actually racing. Which is why Jessica is shown us out. But never actually was going to race anyway. So 14 laps in, fuel window for Adacos Speedway, which is a 2-mile oval, is around 40 laps. And 100% fuel tank, which I do believe we are using right now. So it will be a pretty straightforward one-stop race with about a 5-lap window as well to make that stop. Right, we got 60 laps to go this time by. As the gap between the top 2 has actually grown by a tenth of a second a lap now, on the last lap at least. Manuel's got to be careful that he doesn't lose that draft. I do know it's pretty OP right now with the new build on iRacing. But once you lose it, there's really no way in getting it back because, well, I don't want to start up a fight, but it's just turning left what you're doing. So there are very little things that you can do as a driver to really go much quicker than the guy in front. Of course, you'll go maybe a 100th of a second quicker here and there, but it won't be tenths or seconds a lap that you will make up, of course. Alright, Espada is closing the gap to Gomez Esteban right now. The gap between those two is 6 tenths of a second. Manuel is slowly closing the gap to Moyle again as well. So I think those 3 are going to be the ones to battle it out for the win, at least in the early stages. Again, a caution could shake that up. Look at the run Espada's getting down the back straight on Manuel Gomez Esteban. That is huge overspeed from the 42 car. And let's actually go on board here with Carlos. And if we can grab a speedometer, see how fast he's going. There we go, 362 kilometers per hour. Really has to get out of the throttle to not slide into the wall on the corner exit. Going into the draft, topping out at 365. All the way down to the inside. Car very loose down here. You can see the steering wheel trying to correct the car is Espada, but he holds on to it. Picks up the draft again of the car in front. And he will hit 368 going into turn 1. Car definitely moving around a lot. Let's check in on the weather. Maybe the wind is just picking up too. No, it's not actually. So probably just running the bars and the wayjacker to really line up the car for the corner exit, to really rotate it down the inside, get a straight exit, pick up the draft as soon as possible. But of course on corner entry, that's going to really make the car loose and slidey. As he gets a really big run going into turn 1 here, it goes all the way down to the inside. There's a little bit less banking down there actually than on the rest of the lanes, but clears Manuel though, so great move. Pretty straightforward though, but still up into the second position. The gap is now 2 seconds to Sam Moyle. Let's see if Espada can close that gap. It's going to be very tricky to do though, because I think the draft is already lost, which I was just talking about. Very difficult to get that back as we have a lapped car involved too. That is Ulfhelm, who is 3 laps down. Hit the wall on lap 2 and then again about 10 laps ago. Alright, Sam Moyle pulls away to a 2.6 second gap now, so that gap definitely growing over the rest of the field, who are still battling for P2. Carlos Espada, Manuel Gomez Esteban up 1 spot from the start, and then we got Angel Pons down a position in P4, but still very much in the running. Then we got Ulfhelm in between as well, who is a lap down, going to the inside now of, I think that's Gomez. It's not actually, I'm not sure why, but the car number for Manuel is showing up as green, so that's why I'm getting the cars confused. The green car up ahead though is Espada, who is shown as blue. So yeah, very interesting there, the colors. Maybe I can look into changing that right now. Unless that is what's set by the driver, of course, then I can't change it. And it doesn't seem like I can, so you'll have to do it with this. 50 laps to go though, a third of the way in for this second pre-season test race. So one thing I would like to mention in this one as well, of course, this season I will be broadcasting the series once again, but that's not without a special thanks needing to be sent out. We've had a few donations from a couple of people to help fund the broadcasting this season. Thanks to Daniel Dinsdale, Sam Blackwood, Sam Moyle, Thomas Klessens, Seb Alexander and Thomas Christensen for funding the PMRL broadcasts this season. Of course, without them, their donations, we wouldn't be on the air right now. And Moyle definitely driving away from the field. 3.3 seconds is the gap now. And at this point in the race we are approaching halfway. We're about 7 laps away from it, but I think Sam Moyle's in a pretty comfortable position right now. 3.4 seconds clear of the nearest competitor, who is also battling other cars, so that's going to slow them down too. And it's so difficult to catch up to the draft again that I think if Sam keeps it clean, it's going to be an easy win. Currently everybody running single file, perhaps some fuel saving going on. Again, it should be a pretty straightforward one stop, but with that caution, the fuel window is extended by about 2-3 laps, maybe 4. If you can, stretch it. Like I said, you could go about 40 laps under green. If you saved, you could go about 43-44 laps, which would mean you only need fuel for about 30 more laps. Which would mean you could short fuel the car. Of course, tires take about 6 seconds to put on. Fuel takes about 8 seconds though. So if you take away some of that fuel, you can actually gain a few tenths of a second on pit road by simply taking less fuel, which of course at these speeds will be a significant advantage, as the more time you spend on pit road, the more track position you will lose. On those real life broadcasts, they keep mentioning you go a football field by every second, so just goes to show how fast you are really going with these Indy cars around an oval like this at 360 kilometers per hour or 220 miles per hour, as I hear contact with the wall, and that is Sam Moyle involved with a lapped car. Oh, what has happened there? I can't really tell who exactly is involved, but it's Ulham for sure. And also Sam Moyle, who was dominating this race, had a 3.5 second lead, maybe even more. That's all gone out the window now, as we have the second caution of the race. Let's take a quick look and see what happens. Down the backstretch. Nothing really going on right now. So it happens the next lap, I'm pretty sure. I do have a... Oh, it is. No, it didn't happen there. It's already happened way here. Oh, Sam's loose. Wow. Okay, so the lap car is actually being collected. So Sam Moyle going through turn 2 gets loose. Ruren just stepping out, probably too much weight jacker, and boom, that collects the lap car of Ulmahelm, and also Espada, who was running in the second position, just nowhere to go. And Manuel, I think, got by without damage, and also Ponche without damage, so those two cars still clean. But that was interesting. I'm pretty sure that the setup that we are using is the iRacing setup, which shouldn't be that loose, so that's interesting. Probably too much weight jacker in the car, maybe too stiff on the rear bar too. That could also help in that. But Manuel pulls into the pits. Ponch is going to stay out actually. Sam Moyle, I think, got a fast repair done. Gets back out on track. Still on the lead lap actually, so Sam still very much in the race. Let's see if Carlos also used a fast repair. He might have already used it or he turned it off by accident, but Sam Moyle, I don't see any damage on the car, so it must have been a fast repair. Alright, so approaching the halfway point in the race, we have 1.5 laps of caution left, so let's do this one more time. Vilda, she supports the PMRL with a number of graphics as well, but primarily an iRacing painter. You can check out her stuff on Instagram, Vopsy lowercase iRacing, not just paints for the IndyCar, but also plenty of other stuff like GT cars and stuff. So check it out on Instagram. Vopsy lowercase iRacing is the place to be for iRacing paints. And those graphics I was just talking about, like this one, the schedule graphic, kicking off season number 4 in 3 days time at Fuji Speedway in Japan, before we go to Iowa, the second time we go there. First oval of the season 2, then we go to Imola, the second and final European round of the season, before we go on a 2-week break for Indianapolis, Mid-Ohio and Michigan. Then we go to Pocono and Road America after another week off. And that will conclude season 4 of the Prime Radio Racing League. We got Ricardo asking if Gomez has damage. I'm pretty sure he does not, but let's check to be sure. Let's see. Let's go on board here. The contact happens just ahead. I don't think any damage was done. If anything, it was debris that got collected by Manuel's car, but I don't think that does any damage, at least not in the way that he hit it. He didn't hit it with the nose or the suspension. I think it just flew over it or something, or hit the side pod, but I don't think it did any damage.
Hang on, we're not going
should
green.
be fine. We have an extended yellow. Which will mean that we are gonna go one more lap before we take the green flag. And this is probably to give some wave arounds. Again, it's a pre-season race, so nothing really serious. Normally in competition, Jessica probably wouldn't do this, but Espada, first car behind the pace car, gonna be waved by, I think? No, actually has to give up the spots to the cars behind. Very interesting situation right now, not sure why that is. I'm pretty sure Espada was the first car behind the pace car, so he should be allowed to unlap himself, which he's gonna do now. Not really sure what's going on right now. Jessica may have sorted that one out though, as Espada back on the lead lap. And they might be waving by over him as well, who goes by the leaders. Gets one lap back. Alright, let's see if we will see the green flag this time by. Overhelm is still a lap down though, so I'm not sure what Jessica wants to do right now. I do know she waved over him by the last time. But either way, pace car is in. Ponch is going to lead us back to the green flag. And here we go, back on the way from IndyCar Speedway with 36 laps to go. At the line, 27 laps to go, sorry. Sam Moyle dominated until the caution came out. Is back in P2. Used the fast repair, going to try to get the lead back. Going into turn 3, looking for that clean air. Down the front straight. Picks up the draft from Ponch ahead, about 3.5 tenths of a second. The gap is at the line. As here goes Gomez to the inside of Sam Moyle now. Battle for P2. As Sam sticks it on the outside, gets the momentum of the corner and also the drive of the car in front. At least for the time being, unless Manuel picks it up, but he doesn't. Slots back in behind Sam. We have 3 cars running within half a second of each other. As Sam goes to the outside now for turn 1. This is an interesting one. Let's see if he can pull it off. And already clears Ponche, who actually lifts off there or something. I don't know what's really going on there, but Manuel also got around Ponche there. So 2 positions lost for the 2 car. Let's see if we can get a better angle of that, because I didn't really see it because of that onboard. Alright, here we go. So Sam on the high side, and then we got Angel down at the bottom, and I don't think the car just stuck there. So Manuel drove right around the outside and moves up into P2. Still have Espada in the pits. Too much damage to continue probably, as Angel brings it down into the pits as well. Gonna get 4 fresh tires and fuel in the car, and we'll probably rejoin the race. So go back to the only 2 cars on track at the moment. Of course, Ponches in the pits and also Espada in the pits. And I stand corrected there, Ulfim was also out on track. But Espada down 2 laps. Back in the race. As Ponche also gets back out on track with 4 fresh tires and fuel. Let's take a look from the rear wing of Sam Moyle. Looking back at Manuel Gomez Esteban, gets a nice run off of turn 2. Sam all the way up to the wall. Sam to the inside, has a peak. Doesn't really go for anything yet though. So he will stick behind. As Sam tries to break this draft down the front straight. Tries to mirror drive Manuel here to give him dirty air, but Manuel goes even further to the inside. Alright, Manuel with a nice run off the final corner. Gonna go to the outside here. Let's see if you can get the run off of turn 2 and maybe get a move done. Doesn't really look like it. He really backed off there. I don't know if that was intentional or just a dirty air kicking in. Alright, so coming up to 25 laps to go in the second and final pre-season race of the evening and the pre-season. Wow, that was a great sentence, wasn't it? If you aren't subscribed to the PMRL YouTube channel yet, by the way, make sure to do so, as all the races will be broadcasted right here for the entire season, just like last season. We're not going to talk about the final race of the season, which I missed for reasons. But we will take you from the drop of the green flag at Fuji to the checkered flag at the final race at Road America. "25 laps to go, and it is Sam Moyle still in the lead from Manuel Gomez Esteban, with Ulfhelm in the third position. Actually just goes to the inside of Sam Moyle to get back on the lead lap. I'm not sure how, but Ulfheim's car is probably repaired. I mean, it's incredible. David's faster than Sam right now, because he just pulled away a few tenths of a second there out of turn 4. His car seems to be handling really well. Way better than I've seen Sam's car handle since the restart. Of course, Sam dominated the early part of the race until Sam lost the car for probably a weight jacker issue, or maybe even the roll bars being too stiff at the rear. I don't know, could be something, or a combination of both. But anyway, that meant that the caution came out, and of course Ulfhelm being involved in the first two incidents, one where I think it was Espada or even Ponce, I can't remember who exactly anymore, but one of those two cars hit the wall, and Ulfhelm had nowhere to go and hit the wall. And then later on, after that restart, again hit the wall, and from that point on was 2 laps down, but has fought back to be on the lead lap now, with help from a wave around from the admins. But still very impressive that David's able to do that. Of course, he's an IAR driver, so his teammates probably coaching him. Not necessarily right now, but overall in practices, just giving advice. Of course, IAR is one of the powerhouses of the iRacing IndyCar community, especially on the ovals. Fielding drivers like Jesper Ehrman, AJ Musselman, and also previously Alexis Newsom, who raced with us last season. She won at Iowa actually, which will be the second race of the season again this season. But yeah, she's off to I5G now, as far as I know. From the latest info, I don't really keep up with it anymore. But that's the last bit of info I know regarding teams and stuff. But going back into this race, coming up to 20 laps to go. As I want to go over the schedule again, just to make sure that everybody knows when where we're going on Wednesday. So Fuji Speedway to kick off the season in Iowa, as I mentioned, with Alexis Newsom winning their last season. I believe it's also the first time PMRL visits Imola, at least that I know of. Then we go to Indy, Mid-Ohio, Michigan, Pocono, and Road America. Alright, Manuel is right there. We got Ulfham still trying to hold on to the lead lap, just lost the track position again to Sam Moyle, let's say, as Manuel also goes by. 17 to go at the line here, and Sam Moyle since the restart actually hasn't been dominant, but also nobody's really been able to pass Sam, so I think he's got a good shot at winning it. Knows exactly where to place the car, and Manuel struggling to get by at the moment. Oh, Manuel really had to lift there. Got a huge run into turn 1, but basically tried to drive the same line as Sam Moyle did, and that meant that Manuel really had to lift off. But gets a big run again into turn 3, clears Sam. Let's see if Sam can come back on the outside now with the momentum of the corner. Pulls into the draft, gets a solid run. And Sam on the outside retakes that lead. It's interesting to note, by the way, I just noticed this. David Ulfhill is a rookie class driver on the ovals. So I think this is his first time, or certainly not experience on the ovals. Let's keep it that way. Primarily a road course driver, so good to see that he is making a step into the unknown, I guess. Trying to learn new disciplines of racing, always good to see. And I've got to say, I've seen worse. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but of course, when you get into something new, you're not always going to be great at it right away. Sometimes people do, but in most cases not. It's just something that David's going to have to get used to, and I think this league is a perfect fit just for that, as he's going to pull to the apron there. Maybe he's going to call it a day, I don't know. Certainly pulls off the track there, so that's going to leave us with the 2 leaders out here to battle it out for the race lead. Sorry, that's good English again. Of course, this race in the season is going to be 250 miles. So 25 laps longer than it is right now. As Manuel leads that lap again. So these two battling it out for the win until the end. Sam dominated early on. Manuel has been sitting in the 2nd or 3rd position all race long pretty much. 3rd at the beginning phase of the race and 2nd since the restart basically. And now up into the lead. And he will try to hold on to this as best as he can. The setup seems to be very tricky with dirty air, so if he can just control that in the right way and time it right, he might just be able to keep it at the line in 10 laps time when it really matters. Track temperature down to 26 degrees. It was 28 during practice, so it is only marginally cooling down as we go side by side across the line. It's Sam Moyle who leads that lap. But Manuel with a great run off turn 2 is going to clear Sam Moyle again to retake the race lead. And we should quickly get another word out before the checkered flag. Vopsy iRacing paints, we didn't really get the chance to do this in the first race. But yeah, great iRacing paints by Vilda. Check it out on Instagram, Vopsy lowercase iRacing. iRacing paints for not only the IndyCar but also GT cars like this Lamborghini, I think it is. And I really apologize if I said that wrong. I do know that people might be face palming at that, but I'm not a GT guy, but it looks like a Lambo, so I'm just gonna assume it is. And pray it's right. Getting closer to the end of the race. We've already been racing for a good 45 minutes now. So this race definitely taking a little bit longer than the first one of the evening at Laguna Seca, where Anna Jorfi went to victory lane. She didn't quite make this race, unfortunately, but still seen a pretty solid battle for the lead regardless in both races. Until lapped cars played havoc in the first one, but so far so good. Right as I say that, Manuel Gomez hits the wall. Well, I wouldn't say hit it, he brushes it. But it might just have been enough to get some damage done. Let's see if we can find it. Look at this. Right front, actually, oh no, it was a pretty big hit actually on the safer barrier. Just a little bit too much dirty air to really handle. Doesn't really seem to affect his performance too much though, off of turn 4. Coming up to 5 laps to go, Sam Moyle leads by 0.2 of a second over Manuel Gomez Esteban. The final 2 cars running on the lead lap, also battling it out for the win in the second and final pre-season race. Sam moving all over the place, trying to break the draft from Manuel, but regardless of what Sam does, Manuel is right there. Slowly trying to pinch Sam down to the inside to try and mess up that momentum that Sam has off the corners. But Manuel is not completely out of it despite hitting that wall a few laps ago. Across the line, 3 laps to go. 6 miles to decide the winner of the second pre-season race. Sam snaking all the way to the apron there on the inside of the track. As the gap is 1.5 of a second at the line, 2 laps to go now. As I've mentioned multiple times, and as you've seen, Sam completely dominated the first part of the race, then lost the rear in turn 2, hit the wall, collected multiple other cars. Manuel was able to drive through it, but with the fast repair in this test race involved, Sam's been able to get a backup car out and retake the lead after the restart. White flag is out. And the gap is 3.5 of a second, so it's going to be difficult for Manuel to do anything. But never say never. Anything is possible until that checkered flag flies. So once again, some snaking going on, trying to break that draft. As through turn 4 we go, out of it comes Sam Moyle first, and Sam's gonna go to victory lane in the second test race before the season starts. Manuel Gomez Esteban brings it home in P2, wasn't really able to challenge for the win there on the final lap, but still a pretty solid finish there for the Spanish driver. We got Ponche finishing in the 3rd position, a lap down. Then we got Ulf Hilm, who was involved in 2 incidents and never could really recover there. Finishes in the 4th position 2 laps down. We also got Carlos Espada 2 laps down, with Jessica Saban being race control, so never actually taking the green flag. So Sam Moyle wins, leads the most laps as well, so some good momentum to take into the ovals this season. Again, Iowa the first of the 4 in a week and a half time. Of course, Fuji first up. But that's going to wrap it up for racing here tonight. We've seen 2 test races, 2 interesting races to say the least, with some incidents involved there, but 2 impressive winners as well. So, like I said, that's going to wrap it up. In 3 days' time, we'll be at the Fuji Speedway to kick off the 4th Prime Meridian Racing League IndyCar Series season. So, from my side, it's thanks for watching. And, yeah, have a good evening and see you all on Wednesday.